Thank you for inviting me to talk about the power of informal and interactive learning. Um, the informal and interactive learning in young children is usually inquiry based. Children actually find their own interest, they explore their own interest, and then they take leadership, they build on their own capacity, and they develop their own confidence. Talking about that from a space where I am currently sitting is where we are is the Discovery Space at the University of Wollongong. We have a beautiful, interactive and an engaging environment for young children and families. Last year we had just over 135,000 visitors come through. What I often see here in this space is you'll see the first time what the children do is so different to what they would do the second time and the third time. Children will walk into the space, they know exactly where they wanted to go because that is where their interests are. They go into that space, but the beauty is every time they come into our space, what they would do the first time would be so different to what they would do the next time, and you can see them developing that confidence, building a bit more and a bit more in what they are actually doing. So for instance, we have this beautiful space where we replicate a shopping center, an everyday experience that children might do with their families at home. You would see kids would come straight, they know where exactly the trolleys are, they pick up the trolley, they know exactly how many fruits and how many vegetables they need to buy, they'll go down to the counters, they'll know how to actually calculate the cost of it. So you suddenly start thinking all these new skills that children are getting, from being able to take turns, being able to calculate, add numbers, understanding and working with others because they share what they needed to buy. We have stickers to put nutrition value on them, so suddenly they understand what's good to buy and what's actually, something that they shouldn't have a lot of. All of this knowledge just comes through because of their interest. And what we also see is we might have a space here, and it's the same space no matter what the age of the child is, but the way each child engages based on their age, their cultural differences, their upbringing or their environment is totally different. But the beauty also is when we see families, and most of our spaces here are easily accessible by families, you see that play actually catches on as adults as well. You can see how adults engage with young children and start playing in this space. So informal learning is in some way where children take their own leadership, they drive their own interest, they build on their own creativity, they start engaging with confidence, they start actually working much more collaboratively. While there's still a lot of research that's still happening about informal learning settings, that's where children spend a great deal of their time, in informal learning settings, whether it be in a bus stop, whether it be in a train station. There's so many places where children actually sit, observe and engage in many different ways, and it's about us giving that opportunity to take that learning and explore it a bit further. The informal learning actually played a big role during COVID or the last 12 months. What we started doing in the last 12 months with families, where we actually put out some activities that children might be interested in, and we allowed children to decide what they wanted to pick. And children decided on what activity they wanted to engage in, like it could be Lego, it could be an art activity, different. And we would actually get online with them and explore that activity with the children for a period of time. Could be 30 minutes, could be 45 minutes. But the beauty at the end of that was children actually continued that activity throughout the day. We often got feedback from families about how the child went on to play with that same activity the whole day, how they started building on that activity, and how suddenly the families were able to engage their children in many different things in an environment where they may not have as much resources that they can access. What that happened is we were able to reach some children and families in some really remote and regional locations, which we couldn't have done because not all of these spaces are accessible for many people. And if you know Australia, it's a huge country, and remote and regional location in Australia is easily an 8-hour drive plus a 2-hour flight. That's how remote we are. And so to have this has been fantastic. So in 2021, we are hoping to build on all of these things. So take our informal learning experiences during COVID, build on what we currently do and see how we can support young children and families who come to our space but beyond. But I hope these words inspire many of you to take advantage of your own environments and see how you can provide children with a space to explore, and then the rest happens.